Begins with a strange grain of rabies. El Labrador Airport. The male protagonist Tamad is waiting for security at the airport. But just when it was his turn, the device responsible for scanning documents, the staff thought there was a problem with the network. Just ready to report. Urgent notification. Mud gets on the highway. He wanted to leave by land. However, when he came to the road, and there were cars everywhere, looking at the traffic, Mud decisively chose to turn around. He saw a group of heavily armed soldiers. I'm standing in front of my neighbor. He chose to hide at home. The citizens of the city were basically moved. Mad left alone at home. I want to tell my sister about my safety. But when he picked up the phone, he realized the phone has no signal. He opened the fridge and found that there was Mud also realized that staying in the city would sooner or later starve to death. The military's assembly notice came again from the audio machine. It's the pizza haze, but because all of Europe fell, the United Nations decided to give up land. Prepare to transfer to the Canary Islands. This is the last assembly. No army will enter the land from now on. After all, there is less and less food in the city. He found Aunt May and wanted to convince her. Aunt May, after thinking, also agreed to leave with Mud. However, when Made came to pick up Aunt May the next day, only to find that he had committed suicide at home, Made looked helpless with the environment in the forest. Successfully shook off the chasing infected person, Mater joined the military. However, this place has already fallen. Looking at the empty port, Mater thought the military had withdrawn. He saw a dinghy not far away. Think about it. Mud decides to take the boat to the shelter, but when he finally got to the boat and found that the ship wouldn't start. Just when Mud was depressed, he heard a noise from the cabin. Mud picks up the guy vigilantly. It was a child who saw the mutation of the infection. In the end, he couldn't help it. Fortunately, there are many ships in the port. Mud takes the big picture, heading towards the Canary Islands. However, he just came out not long ago. The speedboat broke down. Mud lifts the engine. Found something strange on the propeller. He just wanted to check. Instead, I saw an infected person float up. A bright light suddenly appeared not far away. He thought it was a military evacuation vessel. However, when he came to the boat, only to find out that the ship was not an evacuation ship at all. From a man named Shet, Madeira learned that the freighter was from the Middle East. They are also looking for survivor camps. Shet is the only one in the boat who can speak Spanish. With nowhere to go, Mad had to stay on the boat first. In the middle of the night, Mader was awakened by a shout, and he looked in. Several survivors were found on the surface of the sea. Saw the crew throw the rope. The tired Mud didn't think much of it. However, when he ate the next day, the survivors who boarded the ship last night did not show up. But Shet said no survivors boarded the ship. Here, Shet. Mad hasn't reacted yet. Did you read it wrong yesterday? Just then, a crew member finds Mud. Said the captain wanted to see him. On the way to the cab, Mud saw a kayak on the deck. And some supplies. Mada reacted instantly. He did read it right last night. But since someone boarded the ship, why did Shet say no? Just when Mud was strange, the captain produced a map. He asked Mader to take the supermarkets and hospitals in the city. Madeline realized that this was a pirate ship, and the reason why the crew didn't hurt him yesterday. Just want him to lead the way into town. Mader pretends to compromise, and then he snuck up on Shet. I want to ask each other to run away together. He knew there was a plane at the hospital downtown. They could fly a plane to the Canary Islands. But Shet wasn't going to leave. It doesn't matter where you go in the apocalypse, but just came. He saw two men tied up in a corner. Mad wants to rescue the two, but unexpectedly, he was discovered by the guards on patrol. Just as the guard was about to shoot, he did his best to take out the guard. Take advantage of the night. The three quietly lowered the dinghy. But just as they were about to leave, fortunately beaten to death, Shet was also shot a few times. He made a quick escape in a speedboat. Mud found a car by the side of the road. He took Shet to the hospital. But while Mud was looking for painkillers everywhere, there was a sudden sound from the pipe on the come to this end of the channel. Matter just found out that Shet was here. His wounds were also treated. What makes him even happier is the beloved big picture is also here. Matter just learned the crowd is the doctors and patients of the hospital. They're trapped here because there are too many infected people. Mud remembered the hospital plane. He asked Sister Jin if the plane was still there. Sister Jin took Mada to the window. The plane is parked in the quarantine area in the backyard, but there are infected people all around. I see the plane is still there. He took out the hospital floor plan and looked closely. Discover the hospital's boiler room with direct access. Sister Jin threw down the ladder and picked up Made. Looking at the bearded, and others who were submerged in the corpse nest. After a few hours of flight, the group soon arrived near the Canary Islands. See, the phone signal is restored. Mada contacted his sister for the first time.